As you guys know, I do a lot of videos on MK Ultra and sex beta kittens. This right here is your prime example. Let's watch the video and do a breakdown. Kind of like the mental one she's having here.
Now, I'm on here because I done called my fucking mama, my daddy, everybody I could but call, and nobody answered the phone to hear me out. So, I'm gonna tell y'all. So, I had 2 appointments today. I had my color appointment, my hair is freshly bleached, and right after that, I had an appointment with the lady who always do my quick weaves. The lady who do my quick weave, she takes me like 30 minutes to an hour before I'm supposed to be in her chair and say, hey, can you come tomorrow at 5? And I'm like, no, I can't come tomorrow at 5. Like, I run on a tight ship. I go out of town tomorrow, some more shit. No. And then, like, anybody I could ask to fucking do what I want, how I want it, they're booked because it's same day. Like, no, people be booked up. And it's a weekday before a holiday. So I'm just sitting in my fucking car after my color appointment, fucking boo-hooing because I'm so fucking sad. Like, if you want to hurt my feelings, just cancel my fucking service day of, like, 30 minutes to an hour before, late in the day, to the point where I can't find nobody. Like, that shit is like a spit in the fucking face. I feel like a motherfucker just broke up with me. Like I was in a marriage and a motherfucker just told me they don't want me no more. That's how I feel. Like that's my heart right now. My shit is ripped into shreds. Because I take my fucking hair so serious. My hair, my nails, my lashes. Anybody that know me know that. Like, you might as well spit in my fucking face, literally. So I'm just sitting in the car crying that I don't have nobody to talk to. And nobody to do my fucking hair, so I'm crying. I know other shit going on in the world right now, but like, for real, I feel like Kim Kardashian when she lost her fucking earring in the ocean. I swear to God, my fucking feelings are hurt. I can't believe this shit. Like, now I gotta go out of town without my hair being done. Because I could have just got a silk press on my color lady because she do my natural hair. But who the fuck want to go to hot-ass Mississippi with a fucking silk press so that shit can sweat up into a fucking puffball? Yeah, my feelings are so hurt. Please pray for me today because I don't think I'm going to make it.
It's so obvious from everything from the word rose across her chest, which I'll talk about, to her long nails and her blonde hair and her eyelashes. Now, the blonde hair signifies compliance. See, because what you're doing when you are stripping your hair of color is you're removing the melanin from your body. It's ritualistic. Also, you have the fake nails for the carnal mind, for the feline sex beta kitten. It's to get you in the instinct and mindset of animalistic carnal things such as sex. The grooming is all there. You can see it. I want to say that in no way, shape, or form do I mean any harm to this beautiful young lady. She is obviously gorgeous. She's intelligent. She just has some issues of security. Now, this is honestly your typical sex beta kitten. All the signs are there right in front of your face. The programming is obvious. The easiest way for me to explain and get through this programming is to read a little bit about it to you. I'm going to read some stuff because it's easier for me to do it in a more clinical sense than it is for me to relive it again myself. Because some of these things, in some degrees, I have gone through. So I have to remove a part of myself with the emotions in order to do this. So please forgive me. I'm going to hold up my camera and start reading. It's not my camera, my tablet. Close enough. Oftentimes, there are key signs and words. examples. I'm just going to read a little bit here with Monarch. It's very, very common for monarchs to have tattoos on their body, either of blue monarch butterflies, bluebirds, or roses for identification purposes. So she has identified herself by having the word rose across her. I could see the program. You probably can too. Some of these satanic cults will actually have their victims have tattoos of the great beast placed on their forehead. Other victims have scarification marks or tattoos or other occultic designs, basically, that let people know who they are, their belief system, what programs they're under, and so forth. So I'm going to read this. These slaves, who are hierarchy members of the powers that play, the higher ones up, are not tattooed. More of the royals and so forth, they are not left with markings. I'm going to assume because you can't sell them or use them the same way if they're marked up. And let's see. Although a harder to see scar consisting of dots in a triangle on the third eye is done to some members, the prohibition against marking up one's body is not consistently enforced in the powers that plays standards. More with women than with male members. Now, CIA slaves have received the butterfly tattoos, generally from the age of 11 and up. Obviously, the blue monarch butterflies and the bluebirds and the roses are heavily featured also in the rule of the rose. The red, oh shit, what the hell? The Red Crayon Aristocratic Club is also clearly a metaphor for secret societies, such as the Freemasons, the Rosicrucians, all things that are in vain. So with that, the program is placed in the mind of an individual at the primal level. Basically, it's the same as feeling your heartbeat. That's how natural it seems. One of the appropriate tortures, this is hard to talk about, so I'm just going to read it, is to place a bar between the girl's legs, which spreads the girl's loins for rape. Then the bent, spread legs are flapped, while the victim is specifically told that she is a monarch butterfly. Many victims have created butterflies in their mind while being raped. The programmers may tell some of their victims that out of a caterpillar worm comes a beautiful butterfly. While raping them, the programmer will describe the sperm fluid as honeycomb and will cry out hallelujah when they come. And it doesn't take long for the child to realize that they have no ability to resist what is being done to them. So the will of the child, it's basically destroyed, and it's placed in a very pliable mental slave state of mind. Back in the day, one of the most common tortures was actually water torture, because they had built into their system a weakness that water would destroy the clone armies that protected the programming. And they needed their slave systems to be fearful of water. Sound familiar? Kind of like the Truman Show. Remember how he was afraid of water and then he found out everything around him was fake? This says here that frequently slaves were lowered into black holes or pits containing the most scariest things imaginable. This is a frequent trauma because the victim, when left in the dark hole for hours or days without any contact with the world or water or food, will develop deep emotional scars and disassociation rather than telltale signs of physical abuse. Some of the traumas are done for specific medical reasons. For instance, the person is starved by only being allowed 300 calories, say for a woman of about 125 pounds. Sugar and proteins are severely limited so that the brain is starved into submission. Water deprivation, which is taught by parents who raise monarch slaves, is used from time to time on slaves to raise the brain's temperature, which happens when the brain swells from lack of water. When the brain gets woozy and overheated, it hallucinates, and it makes it hard for the victim to remember events and times and things going on around them. If water deprivation is combined with electroshock therapy, it makes it even harder for the victim to remember anything. Heavy exercise, along with periods of little sleep, 2 to 3 hours a day, cause an overproduction of endorphins in the brain, and victims begin to robotically respond to commands. Now, I know you guys have seen this in a lot of breakdowns, especially with entertainers. There was a co-author named Fritz who had actually wrote about this under the pretense of it being called military training, as part of the mind control. The brain under such stress may flip its functions from right to left and vice versa. And hypnosis is easier when the brain is tired. The mind will begin to disassociate and will begin to reverse the primordial brain function, such as pain is pleasure. The person's mind rearranges. This is often done with beta alters or beta models to get them to think of pain and sadistic rape as pleasure. After this reversal in the mind that pain is love, the S&M kitten alters will beg their handlers, often to tie them up or to hurt them, etc. And they'll tease their handler and tell him he's not a real man if he shows mercy, and that's sometimes how pain is inflicted. You could see it with a lot of these people with the clothes they wear. You could see the alters. Look at all the animal prints, the long nails. What do you think all of this really signifies? Primal urges. I wanted to bring up another program, although I didn't specifically see the signs in this young lady of it. I felt nonetheless in my soul that I should share. Fire burning torture. It's used for what's called porcelain face programming. Now, the charismatic church of satanic network, such as the Assembly of God churches, uses porcelain face programming. This is done by using wax masks, placing them upon the victim and giving them certain types of fire torture. The person actually thinks that their face has melted. At that point, the programmer pretends to be a god and or a hero and tells the person that he will give them a new face, a porcelain mask. And these new faces, by the way, look like the ones sold in many stores. The memories of abuse are then hypnotically hid behind each mask. To take off the mask is to burn again. If anyone touches the face of the alters with porcelain face programming, the alter actually will feel a burning sensation because their masks are not to be tampered with. This means that these alters have, via torture and hypnosis, lost their own faces. This is part of the dehumanization process. As long as these alters stay in denial of what has happened to them, they do not have to face the burn torture memories. Some alters are tortured in a fashion that the eye area is traumatized and they squint with their left eye. They look like Baron Guy de Rothschild of France, his left eye, how his looked. The ritual aspect of trauma needs to be covered by traumatizing someone on a specific day, say repeatedly traumatizing them on their birthday. This is far more damaging than simply traumatizing them, because the reason is that each birthday that comes back along and is recycled, that person is put back into the memories of abuse. Sexual abuse of a child is more powerful when it is put into the context of demonic magic. The abuser's semen is magic and seals the program. The ritual aspects of it and the repetitive nature of the abuse create several dynamics that accompany the abuse that wouldn't occur in non-ritual abuse. The lie that accompanies such abuse is that this institutionalized abuse is an obligation for both the abuser and the victim. For instance, the mind control of... I gotta pause it. Had to pause it for a moment. This type of institutionalized abuse allows the abuser to sidestep responsibility for sadistic behavior and sets the stage for the abuse to be continued under the guise of tradition. There are many, many, many types of programs out there. I'm simply giving a breakdown of a few of them. Alpha is general programming. Beta is sexual programming. Delta is instructions for how to kill during ceremonies. Theta is psychic killing. And Omega involves suicide and self-destruct programming, as well as self-mutilation. Zeta programming is related to snuff films. And Omicron has to do with drug smuggling. There are tons of programs out there, and people really need to be aware of them. Watch the people around you. Have compassion when you see someone struggling, because you don't know what they've been through. And a lot of people have been through a lot of these hidden programs, unbeknownst to themselves and the rest of the populace. So instead of us judging and being rude to each other, because I could easily look at this video of this young lady and tease her, which would do nothing for her. She's a beautiful young lady having a rough moment, and she doesn't know how to deal with the emotions behind it because she's stuck in the ego and in the id, the Freudian mind, the false belief system. You could look at the video and see it. Boom. And it dropped just like that.